Hare Krishna, Namaste. Chapter 4, which is entitled as Jnana Yoga, Sloka 33. śreyān dravya-mayād yajñāj, jñāna-yajñaḥ paran-tapa, sarvaṁ karmākhilaṁ pārtha, jñāne parisamāpyate. The purpose of all the sacrifices, the karma mentioned, or one does is to arrive at the status of complete knowledge. By having that knowledge, then one gets released from material miseries and ultimately to get engaged in the devotional service, bhakti. However, when one does this action without the proper knowledge, then the same action will lead one into further entanglement, which leads to material miseries because of the bondage. So it is important that we understand the result, the phalam, that can be classified into two: drishta phalam or adrishta phalam. Drishta means that can be perceived, that can be seen. Adrishta means which cannot be seen right away, but can be experienced. Arjuna, if he thinks that if I defeat this opponent, Bhishma, Drona, Duryodhana parties, by defeating them, they will be killed. When they get killed, I will get the kingdom. When I get the kingdom, I will rule and I can enjoy the kingdom. So these are drishta phalam, means one can see things. Whereas if one thinks, or if Arjuna thinks, if I defeat this opponent, I followed my varnashrama dharma. By following dharma, the obstacles that are there for me to have self-realization, atma sakshatkara, are removed. When the obstacles and sins are removed, then obviously I can have the vision of the Atma. With this jnana, what happens is one even loses the interest in the drishta phalam, the kingdom, and mood of wanting to enjoy. Because as per the nishkama karma yoga, one has to do all these things with no attachment to the results of one action. And when one does with this proper understanding of self while they are doing the action, and that itself will help one to gradually get detached from the results of one's action. So therefore, the fruit of doing action with this jnana, in this consciousness, gives one adrishta phalam, which cannot be seen directly, like the kingdom and opulences and etc. In this way, two things get fulfilled. Not fighting to enjoy the kingdom, but to establish the dharma, that's number one. Number two, not fighting to take revenge, but to get atma sakshatkara, to vision the self. Without the elevation of knowledge, actions that one performs becomes simply a material activity. Real knowledge culminates one into Krishna consciousness, and that is the highest stage of transcendental knowledge. Now, there are few objections might arise from this, that jnana yoga is what has been mentioned in the Sloka, not the jnana of that which is part of Karma Yoga. But that is not true. Let's understand the objection questions first. Dravya-mayād and jñāna-yajñaḥ. Question is, why can't we take dravya-yajñaḥ as Karma Yoga and jñāna-yajñaḥ as Jnana Yoga? In this way, one can say Jnana Yoga is greater than Karma Yoga. Also, from this verse that we just saw, the superiority of Jnana Yoga is declared. That's how the argument is. That's not the case though. But the argument is, all action leads to the jnana, culminate non-jnana. Therefore, one can understand Jnana Yoga is what has been mentioned here. And also in the later slokas that we are going to see in this chapter, where Krishna says that jnana is like a boat that will help one to cross over this material existence. Another example is jnana is the fire that will burn all the sins. And there's another part where Krishna says there's nothing can be more pure or purifying than the jnana. Therefore, the argument is, why can't we take this as Jnana Yoga? The answer for these objections or interpretation of the sloka, all these we have already explained how this is not true previously. And what has been discussed is all jnana bhaga within Karma Yoga, not the Jnana Yoga. In the third chapter, it is explained that Karma Yoga is better than Jnana Yoga. It's already been declared. Krishna has already declared. And there's no point in discussing about that again. One has to just recollect that. In third chapter, Sloka 8, Niyatam kuru karmatvam karma jayohi akarmanaha. And in chapter 5, which is we'll be seeing, the second sloka, Krishna says, Karma sanyasanat karma yoga vishishyate. That is, karma yoga is special. And also in this particular chapter, at the end, Krishna will give his instruction to Arjuna to get up and fight. So in all this way, we can understand how that this is not the topic of Jnana Yoga, rather it is the Jnana Bhaha within the Karma Yoga. That is what's been mentioned. That's the right interpretation to understand this. So what we have seen in this sloka is that all the action that's been performed, the jnana part within the action is an important aspect, important component. The jnana bhaga within the karma is what going to burn the reactions into ashes. When these reactions, the karmas are burned, then it helps one to perceive, see the self, Atma. And ultimately, any action that we do, it should culminate into this jnana, into this knowledge. Otherwise, it's merely just an action. śreyān dravya-mayād yajñāj, jñāna-yajñaḥ paran-tapa, sarvaṁ karmākhilaṁ pārtha, jñāne parisamāpyate. Namaste. Hare Krishna.